Hi, everyone. This recording is going to deal with the topic of concert etiquette and what should and maybe should not happen at concert venues, or if you go to see a play or a ballet or a symphony concert or our band concert that's coming up. And I'm going to start out by acknowledging that a lot of these traditional rules that apply to concert behavior have been relaxed in our culture in the last several years. And I think there's a lot of many reasons for that, but I don't think it's necessarily a good thing to just throw them all out because our culture is more relaxed than it used to be. And so I'm going to share with you, these are my thoughts. They are not really written down anywhere else. I don't think that I created them, but I do feel like this is kind of maybe strongly biased on me. So I'm going to start by acknowledging that, yes, other people that you talk to might not think these things are as important, but I am going to share them with you because they have been historically true. And I feel like there's just not very many places to learn this. So I'm going to share them with you and you can do with them what you want. Okay, so hopefully this won't be too boring or too long. I'm going to try to make it as fast as possible. So here we go. I'm going to share a screen because I tried to make a little presentation for you. Okay, so concert etiquette is the name of this presentation. All that really means is it refers to the generally accepted set of behaviors at a performance, such as a musical concert, ballet, play, anything really where people are performing. These rules do not really apply to, like, if you go see a basketball game or something like that. That's a whole different thing. And concerts and musical performances and plays and art things are different than going to a sports presentation. So keep that in mind as we talk about these things. It's really pretty simple because all the rules are based on the concept of respect. And this is a way that we show respect for the performers. The performance show the respect for the audience, and all the art that is being created is honored and respected as well. This goes back to giving honor to the composer or to the playwright or to the choreographer of the ballet, and also to the people who are creating this unique art at the moment. So if you can remember that it's all based on respect, then it's really easy to know what to do, because you're just not going to do something that's disrespectful to anybody and you'll be good. Okay, there's really two parts to this, two perspectives. One is as a performer. So this is if you are actually part of the group that is performing. You're in the band, you're part of the play, you are part of what's going on. And there's a set of ideas that will help you create the most satisfying performance, both for you and for the people who are coming to see you. And it's centered in granting respect to your audience, to your friends who are also performing, and to the art that's being created. The second perspective is from the audience perspective. As an audience member, you have a set of cultural norms that will help you enjoy this performance, and the people around you will enjoy the performance. And again, it goes back to being respectful of the performers, of the fellow audience members, and also to the art that's being created. Okay, so both of these things it's the same. We're just trying to make sure that we are decent humans to everybody. And it's really not as complicated as some people make it out to be. Okay, so first we're going to talk about what you do if you're performing. Okay, the first one, I think some of you are going to go, well, this is dumb. Of course I'm going to do that. And that is arrive on time with what you need and dressed appropriately. That seems really simple and something that you probably don't need to be told about. But really, if you think about it, this creates a lot of extra work that you need to do ahead of time. You need to figure out what the people in charge of the performance want you to wear. For our group, that's just your basic concert black and white or all black. So once you figure that out, you need to see if what you have already still fits. Concert clothes are notorious for shrinking in between concerts, and you may get to try on those clothes and they just don't work anymore. You have grown and they just don't fit you. And so you'll need to get something different, borrow it from an older brother or sister or something. And that is best done a couple of weeks ahead of time and not the night of the performance. So nobody wants to be getting ready that evening and realize that your pants are too tight or there's a stain on your white shirt. So do this ahead of time and save yourself some stress and your parents some stress. Gather all of your things from their various hiding spots. This means make sure your neck strap is inside your case. Bring your slide oil and your cork grease and extra reeds and all of this thing. Make sure everything you need is inside your case or wherever you put it so that you can bring it with you. Bring all of your music into your folder. Don't leave it sitting on your music stand at home or under your bed or on the piano or wherever it might be. Put it all together. Make sure that you have it all in one spot. Do you need extra things like a jazz hat or some other prop for what you do? Make sure you gather that ahead of time. You're trying to minimize the surprises or the extra stress that doesn't need to be there on the day of the performance. So get it done early, and that will help you be on time and be calm when you get there, and it will alleviate a lot of stress for your family as well. Realize that your job begins when you arrive, not when you get on stage, but when you first get there. So everything you do from the minute you exit your vehicle to the time that you leave or your performance is over is geared toward making sure this is the best night possible. So that affects the choices you make. Yes, you're going to greet your friends and you're going to enjoy being together again, but you're probably not going to run around outside and tear your pants and slide in the grass and knock over somebody's instrument when you're playing ball or whatever. All of those things don't really have a place in the pre-concert world when you arrive. So, greet your friends, get excited about what you're going to create together, but realize that you have a job to do, and that job is to get ready for the best performance you can do. There's a warm-up room usually where everybody opens their cases and gets their horns out, and this can be kind of a chaotic time also, both because you have come from all of this hullabaloo trying to get there and you're already kind of excited and maybe a little bit nervous, and also because it's just noisy in there with everybody warming up at the same time. There's a tendency to want to be the loudest or most obnoxious sound in the room, and not only is that really disturbing to everybody else, but it is also a really bad way to warm up and prepare for a concert. So what you should do instead is just think about how we warm up in class. What do we do first? Usually we take some breaths to get focus and to warm up our way of breathing for music and making sure that we can kind of just focus down and center ourselves again. And then we warm up our instruments. We do long tones just to get the air flowing and warm up our embouchure and make sure our reed works. We will do a few scales, maybe a couple exercises, just kind of remembering how to play. If you're in a separate warm-up room and not on stage while you're warming up, then yeah, you can play through that one difficult passage that you just need to refresh your memory on from your concert work. Try not to play too much during the warm-up time. You have a long night ahead of you. Just make sure that you are ready to play, and if possible, use a tuner and check that your instrument is as in tune as you can make it. If you are warming up on stage and there could be some audience members sitting there waiting for it to start, that presents a whole different set of warm-up rules. And this doesn't really happen too often for you guys, but as you get older, you may be the only performer there. And so what do you do when you're sitting there waiting? A good thing is just to blow air through your horn. You can keep your instrument warm and ready to play while you're sitting there waiting without really making much sound at all. You can also do long tones or check a couple tuning things. What you should not do is to sit there and play your favorite parts of your concert literature, so that the audience hears kind of like a sneak preview ahead of time. And that's called giving away the concert. And it's just bad form and generally frowned upon by other musicians. So just don't do that. If you're in that position, just do a few simple warm-ups and wait and share your concert literature at the actual concert. So we've warmed up, we're ready to go, and now it's our time to play. What are we going to do? We're going to remember those kind of weird things that we've been working on in class with our rest, ready, and play positions. And these things are set in place to help you become one entity. So really all of these things we've talked about, dressing the same, warming up together, coming together and focusing on, it's all centered around taking all these random people and making them into one group that has the same goal. And so if we act together when we are getting ready to play, we have a much stronger chance of playing together at the same time. So your rest position, your ready position, your play position are all signs that you are focused on the job at hand and you are ready to do what is about to happen. And they just help us get focused. And they also help the audience know what's going on too. And they go, wow, they really know what they're doing. They're like one oiled machine here. And I can't wait to hear what they sound like if they look that great. That's the things that are going through the heads of some of the people who are there to listen to you if you observe these things. So it's more than just kind of some dumb rules. There's a lot going on. At the end of a song, remember we've been working on this one in class, you are to hold your position and stay exactly still until the conductor's hands come down. And then you can relax. When they relax, so can you. And what that does is give this really special moment at the end of your song to allow that last bit of the music or the art form or whatever it is to exist a little bit before it's destroyed by the clapping and the moving around. And once that moment is gone, it's gone. So if there was a beautiful chord at the end or a really exciting cymbal crash, we need some time to just kind of experience that and enjoy it. So hold still until that happens, and then you can relax. And that way you're not going to destroy that moment and not give it a chance to live at the end. It's really important, and it can be really special if we do it right. Last thing is can be pretty hard. So you've finished your concert and you are wandering around and people constantly are saying, wow, that was so great. I'm so proud of you. You did such a great job. I think there's a tendency sometimes, especially if you're not personally really happy with the performance, to say, oh, really? You thought that was great? I missed the B flat in measure 4 and the trumpets were late and like snare drum rolled across the stage. I can't believe you thought that was a great performance. Okay. If no matter how you personally feel about it, the only thing you really need to say when somebody gives you a compliment is thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Because if you say all of those other things that are maybe more negative, then you're basically telling the person that their opinion doesn't matter, they're wrong, and they don't know what they're talking about. And that's pretty rude if you think about it that way. Most of us don't think that we're being rude when we say that. We think, well, we just don't really deserve that praise because we didn't do a very good job. Most of the time you have done a good job, and maybe there was one small thing that didn't go the way you wanted it to. Oh, well, it's over. Next time you can try to do something different. But you do deserve to be thanked and to be given praise for the work that you've done. So just accept that graciously and say thank you. That's all you have to do. And that makes the whole thing a lot more positive than if you basically tell the person they don't know what they're talking about. That ends up being kind of rude. Okay, so all of those things are giving respect to each other in the group and to the audience for their time and for the composers and the art form that you're creating. Okay, now we're going to talk about what you do if you're part of the audience. Okay, the audience member, these are the people who came to listen to it, or maybe you, after you're performing and you're listening to some of the other groups that are performing that same night. So again, we're talking about respect. You need to arrive early. If you're in a large venue, you need to find a place to park, figure out how to get to the door, get your tickets ready. All of those things can be kind of chaotic and frustrating. You need to have enough time to figure all of that out, figure out where you're going to put your coat, use the bathroom, get a drink of water. All of those things should be done before you go take your seat. So sometimes there's a line and you're going to have to wait. So allow time for that. Enjoy every part of the concert experience. And that includes waiting in line to give your tickets to the ticket collector or to use the restroom and all of those things. It's all part of it. And you can feel it when you walk in. There's an excitement in the air. And that can be a cool time too, if you are not worried about being late. So arrive enough time to get that done. What if you are late because there was an accident or there was something that happened that made you late? If that is unfortunately what happened to you in that particular night, you're going to need to wait to enter the concert hall or the performance area until it's a good time to do that. You should never, ever come in the middle of a song or an act of a play or a ballet performance. You don't come in while the performance is going on, because that takes the attention away from the performance and on to you, who are supposedly there just to listen. And you can imagine this, you've probably seen it. Somebody walks in, the lights are down, you have this bright light from the other room flowing in, the doors are making a bunch of noise. Then they have to find their seat and they're going, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me to everybody as they are walking in front of them. It just causes this huge commotion that doesn't need to be there and is really rude to what's going on. Okay, imagine being one of those people that they're being walked over. You can't see what's going on. You were in the middle of this beautiful rhapsody or something, and now you've got this person in front of you just totally disrupting the moment. This is why the rule exists, that you wait until an appropriate time. So if you're late, that probably means you're going to miss part of it. And that's really sad, but it's better to wait than to ruin it for a whole bunch of other people. So sometimes that means you just only need to wait for the end of the song and you can sneak in really quick. Sometimes you'll need to wait till the group changes and there's a longer break. Some places make you wait until intermission, which could be, a long performance. That could be half an hour or so that you're sitting outside, usually not outside in the cold, but actually in the entryway. And that's kind of a bummer, but it's the way it is. You are the one that is late, so it's not somebody else's problem that you have missed the opening part of it. So that's a good reason and good incentive to not be late. So you need to wait until somebody lets you in, or you can see that there's nothing important going on right now and you have time to sneak into your seat really quick. Once you get there, if you aren't an infant or a toddler who just have special rules because they're not old enough to sit there very long, and sometimes they just can't handle a concert all the way, they're just not feeling it that day, right? That's a different thing. But if you're not one of those people, you need to try to stay in your seat until there is a break. Anytime you're moving back and forth, you are creating a disturbance that doesn't need to be there. So if you just don't like that particular song and you want to go do something else for a minute, that's not okay. You're there to hear what is being presented. And you don't have to like absolutely everything, but you do need to be respectful while you're there. So listen for the whole song, be still and quiet. And if you absolutely have an emergency, you're going to throw up or something, yeah, you need to move and get out of there because nobody really wants you to throw up in their lap. But most of the time that people are moving around, it's just because they don't have a very long attention span and they got to move around a little bit. You can do that moving around and shuffling in your seat in between songs, in between groups, and at the intermission. You don't need to do it while the performance is going on. Again, babies are different because they're babies and they don't know yet, but you do. So now you've been told and you can sit there and enjoy it. And you'll be surprised, even if you start out not really liking something, you might find something if you listen to it long enough that is at least intriguing or different or that you haven't thought about before. So that's why you're there. You should stay there. Cell phones are a part of our life and everybody has one, it seems like, and they are kind of glued to our hands a lot of the time. So that's just going to be a fact of life and that's fine, but you can put them on silence. You can turn the volume down so there's no voom voom in the middle of it. And then put them away if at all possible. We all feel like we need to be accessible all the time now, but when you're at a live performance, that is what you're doing right now. So you can take a quick check messages at intermission to see if there's anything earth-shattering that has happened in the world since you've been listening to this concert, but really you don't need to have them on during the play or during the concert. Think about this a little bit from the perspective of the people around you. If you are using your phone, that means the light of your phone is on. And that can cause a really blind spot for the people who are sitting around you and can make it hard for them to see what's going on because a lot of times the house lights are down, so it's kind of dark in there. And then here's this bright screen. Even if you dim it, it is still distracting to the people around you. And if for some reason you forgot to turn this volume down and you open solitaire and all the bells and whistles start coming on, then it's super embarrassing for you and really distracting to everybody around you. Okay, so some people like to give their phones to a small child or something so that they have something to do and they're quiet. And that's a personal choice for you guys, but just be aware of what it might do to those around you and definitely make sure that the volume is down and off. All of these kind of rules and suggestions are meant to keep the attention on the performance and not on you. So even if you're super into the performance and you're just really excited about it and you want to share all of your thoughts and your excitement with the person sitting next to you, you really need to keep those comments and the whispering and the talking in the middle of it till a break in this performance. Do it, explain that during intermission or afterwards on the drive home, but not in the middle of it, because again, you're there to enjoy what's happening. And it's really a very short time. So if you're talking to somebody, you aren't listening to what's currently going on. The person you're talking to isn't listening to what's going on. And the people around you are having a hard time concentrating on what's going on as well. So that's really pretty rude if you think about it. All those people are now not focused on what they came to do because you had a comment that had to be shared right that second. So we don't want to do that. Save those exciting comments for when nothing is going on. This is especially true if the performance isn't going really well. Say somebody trips or something happens that you think is kind of funny. It's probably not funny to the people that are doing it. And they don't really need you to laugh at them about that. So just be gracious and be glad that it's not you that happened to, and move on with your life. The last one is kind of the same as the cell phone thing. Excuse me, I'm going to take a little drink here a second. For some reason, my voice is kind of hoarse this morning, so I'm almost done. Be considerate with you recording and taking pictures. A lot of people want to record every moment of their kids' life, and that's cool. I'm a parent too. I like to see those later, but just be considerate and make sure that what you're doing isn't ruining the activity for somebody around you. There's been several times where I've come to a concert and the person in front of me is recording the whole thing, and the only thing I can see is their cell phone screen. And I can't actually see around them to see my kids on stage or whoever I came to see. So just be considerate with it. Turn the sound off so we don't hear the picture snapping, and make sure that you aren't interfering with somebody else being able to enjoy it. Okay. All of this comes down to respect again. It's really pretty easy. Live performances are a really special event. They are a privilege, and I think the last couple of years have really taught us that. They are something that is unlike anything else that we do. It is really special. And even if it's recorded, the art that happens there will not be duplicated. When you go and listen to that recording again, it won't be the same as it was if you were in the audience. If you watch a video of a performance, it's not the same feeling. Art needs the performers and the audience together to be created. And we are working as a team to create this really special, unique, one-time experience. And if you think of it that way, it's become super easy to just be respectful of this time. Concerts are a privilege, and they are so exciting if everybody is on the same page and is working together. It can be something that you will remember for the rest of your life. If you make the extra effort to be able to get these things done, you will have the most benefit from it. You personally, and also the people around you, will also feel that camaraderie and the teamwork that went into that. There's a lot of people that come together to make this experience amazing, and it is really pretty fleeting. And that's kind of, I guess, my biggest thing I want you to take away from this is that this is really special. This is a thing we get to do as musicians or audience members or supporters of the arts that is different from everything else. And if you just really think of it that way, it becomes super easy to do what you need to do to make that happen in the best way possible. So this wasn't meant to be a lecture or a, oh, you guys are so bad. That's not at all what I want to do. I just want to prepare you to make sure that we get the most out of it, and so that you feel comfortable going to any other type of play or symphony concert or anything else you may have the experience to do or the opportunity to try out, and not feel like, oh, I have no idea how I'm supposed to act. There's lots of little cultural things that I haven't mentioned, like clapping for a soloist at the end of a jazz solo, even if it's in the middle of a song, just things like that. But you'll pick up those things. If you do the things I have mentioned, you'll be well on your way to understanding what makes a good performance happen. So those, again, it's heavily biased. I will admit that up front. This is kind of Lisa Laulainen's take on what should happen, but there are also cultural norms that have been established long before I was around. So I'm hoping that you can take away some things that are meaningful and will help you along in your journey. And I'm very much looking forward to our concerts and seeing you be audience members for everyone else, as well as performing well. So until next time, I'll see ya. Thank you for watching.